Welcome again in this video of elegy written in Concrete Churchyard. This is the next and last video on elegy written in Country Churchyard. I am Dr. Vinita Bhadoria, Associate Professor English, Government College, Behror. Haply some hoary-headed swain may say, oft have we see him at the peep of dawn, brushing with hasty steps the dews away to meet the sun upon the upland lawn. The meanings are haply. Haply is perchance or perhaps. Hoary-headed with grey hairs. Swain, countrymen or shepherds. Peep of dawn. Peep of dawn is just at the time of rising of the sun. At the time of rising of the sun. Brushing is clearing, sweeping. With hasty steps, going in a quick manner. Upland lawn. Upland lawn means the grassy hilltop from which the sunrise could be seen with advantage. Can be seen nicely. In these lines, the poet is referring to his love for nature. Most of the poets of Victorian age are nature poets. He says that after his death, some white-headed shepherds or countrymen may say, having a look at this grave, that when the poet was alive, they had seen him at the time of the daybreak, going hastily to the grassy hilltop, brushing the dew in the way. He went there to be able to have a clear view of the sunrise and enjoy the sight of the rising sun. Do you understand this stanza? Again, next stanza. There at the foot of yonder nodding beech, that wreathes its old fantastic roots so high, his listless length at noontide would he stretch, and pour upon the brook that bubbles by. Some meanings there. There gives the idea at a distance, to show the distance. Yonder. Yonder means again at a distance. Nodding. Nodding is moving in the wind. Beech. Beech means a smooth barked, glossy leaved tree. Beech is a kind of wild tree. Wreaths, twists. Fantastic, strangely. Listless, leisurely. At noontide, daytime. Stretch is spread, pour upon, gaze upon. Looks, stares, babbles by, move along, making a murmuring sound. Now the explanation. There at the foot of yonder nodding beech, in these lines the poet is expressing that village, that nature is very beautiful, and he expresses love for nature. He says that after his death, some villagers would record the fact that he and other people had seen the poet lying at full length under the branch of a distant beech tree at the noon time. The poet used to lie with pleasure under the branches of the beech tree without caring for all that was going around him. The poet cared only for the music of the brook that flowed by the side of the tree. The poet loved the babbling and murmuring sound of the brook. Heard by yon wood, now smiling as in scorn, muttering his wayward fancies, he would rove, now drooping, woeful man, like one forlorn, O crazed with care, or crossed in hopeless love. Important meanings: hard by, near or very close. Wood is forest. Now smiling as in scorn. The wood is unmindful and unscornful of the opinion of the world. So it's a metaphor. Muttering, speak of himself. The wood recognized its own worth and superiority over other worldly things. So it does not care any worldly affairs. Wayward fancies, peculiar poetic thoughts and ideas. Rove, wander about, drooping, hanging down his head. Woeful men, sad and weak persons, like one forlorn, like a person who has been deserted by the group to which he belonged, crazed with, maddened with care, anxieties, crossed in hopeless love, one who could not get success in his love, in his affair. Explanation: the poet says that the countryman would say that he had seen the poet going by the side of the forest. He is thinking all these things. The forest is scornful of the opinions of the world and is conscious of its own worth and superiority. As the poet moved about the forest, he spoke to himself in an indistinct way. Poetic thoughts and fancies flashed through his mind. He is full of imagination. Sometimes the poet would be hanging low as if under the weight of some anxieties. He would appear like one who had been left alone by one's fellow man or who had not achieved success in his love or get failure in his love. One morn I missed him on the customed hill, along the heath and near his favourite tree. Another name, nor yet beside the rill, nor up the lawn, nor at the wood was he. Missed him, meaning couldn't see the poet. On the customed hill, in that hill on which is always heath, flat waste tract of land covered with shrubs. Favorite tree, the tree of which he was very fond. Another morning came, nor yet beside the rill. On the next day, the poet could not be seen even by the side of his favorite brook. The explanation: the poet imagines that the villagers would say that one morning he did not see the poet going on his customary round to the hill from where he used to have the pleasant sight of the rising sun. Nor did he find him lying under the beech tree in the noontime. He is not seen anywhere. Another morning came, but the poet could not be seen anywhere. He was neither lying by the side of his favorite brook, nor was he to be seen passing by the side of the wood. No trace of the poet could be found. The next with dirges due in sad array, show through the churchway path we saw him borne. Approach and read, for thou canst read the lay graved on the stone beneath you is his tomb. Next means next day. Dirges, funeral songs. In sad array, funeral procession. Churchway path, the path leading from the main road church. Borne carried. Borne is carried. Approach means come. It is an address by the villager to his fellow person. In the words of poet, they lay. They lays. Now he is talking about the epitaph. Graved on, inscribed, beneath, underneath. Beneath means underneath. Aged, old. These are few meanings. The poet, again he is imagining about himself that again the next day it was reported that the poet had died. Now the people know that poet had died. His funeral procession was carried through the churchyard to the place where he was buried. On his grave was raised an epitaph, and the country gentleman asked the farmer who could read to come forward and read the lines on the grave of the poet. The epitaph, the part of the poem, epitaph. What is the epitaph? The concluding part of the poem. What is the epitaph? Epitaph, the word epitaph is derived from the Greek phrase epitopheus, means funeral oration. An epitaph is a short statement about a deceased person, often carved on one's tombstones. Epitaph can be poetic, or in other words, we can say words that are written or said about a dead person, especially words written on a stone when someone is buried. Here rests his head upon the lap of earth, a youth to fortune and to fame unknown. Fair science forwarded not on his humble birth, and melancholy marked him for her own. There are some meaning here at this place. Rest is upon the lap of earth means the poet is buried at this particular spot of the land. His head is lying upon the lap of the earth in the grave. To fortune, wealth means wealth. To fame, fame is what is fame? Reputation. Unknown means during his lifetime the poet could neither acquire fame nor fortune. Fair science means knowledge in general. Forward frowned not, was not angry with, on his humble birth when he was born. Melancholy, sadness, seriousness. So, in these lines, the poet imagines that he too would die one day. He would be buried in the churchyard. He desired that the following lines should be written on his grave. Anyone who passed that way would read them. The poet says that on his epitaph, epitaph is that stone which is on someone's grave, would figure the following lines. In this grave, lay the body of the poet who never got fortune, a youth to fortune and to fame unknown. He never get fortune, wealth or fame in his life. Fair science forward frowned not on his humble birth. He lived a simple and ordinary life, but he was able to obtain enough knowledge to make him happy in life. He was votary or learning and knowledge, and these were the proud possession in his life. And melancholy marked him for her own. That means he was a melancholic youth and was temperamentally was very serious and sober. Large was his bounty and his soul sincere. Heaven did a recompense as a largely sent. We have to misery. All he had a tear. He gained from heaven. Swat all he wished a friend. Meanings we can see bounty. Bounty is charity. His soul sincere means the poet was earnest and sincere in all the works of his life. Recompense, reward, prize, inam, misery, the miserable people. Misery is the miserable people. This is an abstract which is used for the concrete. All he had, all that he possessed and could possibly give to others. Tear means feelings of sorrow and sympathy. Heaven means God, a friend, possibly God Himself. Uh, the poet was very rich in his charities. According to him, large was his bounty. He is very big in charities. He was very liberal in his gifts. He had a sincere soul. Apart from these noble virtues, he did not possess much wealth and fortune. All that he had got was his capacity to sympathize with the poor people. He sympathized with miserable and wretched persons whenever he met them. For all this noble work, he could get from God all that he desired to have, namely the gift of a friend. The poet perhaps received the friendship of God Himself, or the friendship of an earthly friend like West, whom he considered as a noble office on the earth. No further seek his merits to disclose, or draw his frailties from their dread abode. There they alike in trembling hope repose, the bosom of his Father and his God. There are some meanings. Merits, virtues, qualities. To disclose means to find out. Frailties are the weaknesses. Dread about, bosom of God. They alike means the merits and the weaknesses. Trembling hope. Trembling hope is hope for his merits and fear for his frailties, weaknesses. Father is God. This is the concluding stanza of the poem, and it is just like the epitaph, which perhaps the poet would like to be written on his grave. Means he wants to write this epitaph, these lines on his grave. The poet requests the passerby not to make a further inventory of his virtues and vices, qualities and weaknesses after his death. They are both lying with God because he had found a place in Abraham's bosom after his death on the earth. In these lines, he wants to say that his weaknesses be buried with him, like his qualities, virtues. He lies in peace. The word dread is used in the sense of awesome. He rests in God's protection, and the epitaph marks his grave, which is the final place of rest. So, this is all about elegy written in country churchyard. I have given you so many PDFs of question answers, MCQs, and short question answers. So, go through them, see the videos. Thank you very much.